Welcome to Memory Lane, where we are going to take a plain wooden box and transform it using a basic, beautiful sheet of pattern paper and some Mod Podge. Let's get started. So we're going to begin by grabbing ourselves a plain wooden box. This one I purchased at my local dollar store, and if I use my ruler, it is just about 13 inches long. Now, you can use any wooden box, but I love this length because it has 4 partitions, so I can easily put 6 cards per partition plus 1 to make my 25 cards for Christmas. The only thing is it came with these little rope ties in the front, so no big deal. I am just going to snip those off with my scissors. I am sure these boxes are very easy to find. Again, just purchased from my local dollar store, and it is a great size for holding 3x4 cards. So you're going to also want to grab yourself some Mod Podge and a foam applicator brush, and that is what we are going to use, as well as a dish for the glue. And this paper. Now, you could use any holiday paper to do your transformation, but I'm loving this paper to cover this box because it blends beautifully, and I love the vintage postcard look. I think it is exactly what I'm looking for, especially when it comes to creating a box of holiday cards. That is kind of the theme of the project. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to selectively pick the portions of the paper I want to use. So just be mindful when you are beginning to cover your box edges that you look and kind of assess which designs you want where, and then you will know where to trim. If you've taken my classes and you know me, I am a total eyeballer. So all I simply did here was I kind of aligned the portion I want to trim, made 2 little snips with my scissors, and now I'm going to use my trimmer to give me my straight edges and cut the portions I need for my box. So be sure to tuck away the scraps to the side because you never want to get rid of those. We are going to be covering every portion and side of this box with our paper, so be sure to hang on to every little bit. So I chose this design for the left-hand side. Again, there is just going to be a small smidge that won't be covered since our paper is only 12 inches, but because of the eclectic nature of this paper, it's going to be so easy to just trim an additional portion and Mod Podge it on, and you won't even know that it's kind of an addition piece. So I made my initial cut. There was a little bit too much on the overhang, so you saw I went and trimmed off that edge, and now it is the perfect size for me to begin adding my glue. So I'm going to open some Mod Podge. I'm going to pour some on just this little plastic cover I found. And Mod Podging is super simple and easy. Basically, just apply a generous but not too much amount right directly onto the wood. Lay your paper on top and then make sure it is all nice and secure. Then once that is done, you're going to want to add another layer of Mod Podge directly on top of the paper as a sealant. So now I'm going to move on to the front piece, and I really loved this little section that says Merry Christmas and Joy. So again, I'm just going to eyeball, line it up, and make my little mark with either a little fold or a little snip mark so that I know where to make my cuts when I use my trimmer. So I'm going to, again, line this up and trim off that portion that I'm going to need for the front. Before you glue anything, I always suggest just making sure it aligns nice and uniform and there's nothing sticking off or it's not too short. But again, if you do make an error and it's too short, not to worry because this specific paper is very forgiving and we can always add on an extra layer, Mod Podge it, and you wouldn't even know. So I love a project that, again, I said is very forgiving because mistakes do happen, but this one is going to just work out great, I think. So here we have the front of the box. So again, just adding that layer of Mod Podge. I began using my tray and then I realized it was just easier to directly add it on to the box. So whichever your personal preference is, definitely go with that. I like to kind of be a quick paper crafter. I don't like to dilly-dally too much, so that worked for me. So now once it's on there, I'm going to just add some directly on top again, because remember, Mod Podge is not only a glue, but it's like a sealant, and it will give our box a beautiful professional look that it was actually maybe designed in this way, and you would never tell that we added paper on top. So this is a great transformation. Now for the third side, I really want to utilize this bright postal edge, so I'm going to use that as my last feature side. I kind of have visions of this box kind of standing on a shelf or a coffee table and displaying it in my living room. So I want the sides of the box to be really bright and interesting and just kind of give a beautiful decor feel. So now I have my pieces again, and we'll just repeat the same procedure that we've done previous. And I always like to make sure that it's all measured up, and then we can begin adding our Mod Podge. So again, I am just using my foam brush, make that nice coverage, and then add our paper on top. It's also very important to make sure that all our sides are dry before we continue on the next side. Otherwise, it will smudge and could rip the paper if it gets stuck to your desk surface. So Mod Podge is great. It doesn't take too long to dry. So just be mindful of that as well when you are using it, that before you go on to the next side, everything is perfectly sealed and dry. And again, Mod Podge dries clear, and you will have no worries there. So I'm just going to put a little bit more on the front because I kind of squeezed the bottle a little too much on that last one. But here we have it, our finished project, I should say. You can see how the glue dried perfectly clear. Everything is sealed. I went around and I added extra papers just on those back edges where it was a little bit exposed, but you can't even tell, again, considering the nature of this paper and how it's designed, it works perfectly for this box. So have fun creating your box for this memory lane project. I look forward to launching my class where it will be a collection of 25 cards, different designs, different ideas that we are going to use to fill up and create a gorgeous keepsake that you can enjoy all through the holidays and have as also a beautiful Christmas display.